Hi, it's Alex Fournier for alexfournierart.com and Artistic Purposes. Today's episode is brought to you by Booger Bits, the new candy that tastes just like the real thing. Comes in crunchy, extra crunchy, and sticky. In our newest international flavor from our candy research facility in Wuhan, it's called COVID Ghost Pepper. So spicy. But then again, you might lose your sense of taste, so it probably won't matter too much. Anyway, let's get started. Today we're dealing with cloth, with fabric, with clothing, and in this case, we're going to dive into a pair of jeans. We're going to dive into drawing a pair of jeans. All right, so we got 3 views on this. I'm going to try to make them quick and small if I can. All right, let's try the one on the right. Right now I'm basically trying to not worry about the material, but I'm doing the anatomy right now. So I'm just trying to get the basic shape that's kind of under here. And the thing about this type of jean is you can see that it's quite tight fitting, so even like the calf muscle is like popping out. Okay, all right, so we have the basic shape from this reference, and let's go ahead and apply the feet here. Okay, all right, so we've got the feet. And we've got the hand. All right. Stop getting carried away. All right, so let's do the jeans part of it, okay? So we have, with the anatomy, we already have this seam, right? And now we're going to try to start figuring out where are these lines lining up. Okay, up here we've got belt loop. Another belt loop somewhere over there. Okay, and we've got this pocket. Okay, and this is the opportunity to show the contours based on how the pocket changes shape based on the model or based on the angle, okay? So a lot of that is based on these contours changing shape, okay? All right, so then we've got some wrinkles at the knees. Once again, the wrinkles are partly showing based on how tight the wrinkles are. It's showing how tight these pants are. Okay, we've got some wrinkles here. Okay, same thing here. We've got like a whole bunch of wrinkles at the bottom. And a lot of that speaks to style, but you can also really start to tell what the material, right? Okay, let's do some turning edge to get some three-dimensionality here. Okay, see how that calf is really popping out there. And all right, so now what we've got is we do have to show that this leg is behind it. Okay, so I'm going to start by getting some shading in the turning edge on that contour. And then you'll see, if you look closely, there's kind of like an additional shadow, and it's basically because the jeans are kind of tightly around basically the fat under the buttocks, right, as there's like a wrinkle there as it's being squeezed into these jeans. Okay, and even though you don't see it very well, it's there. Okay. All right, you see how the way that you shade it is going to make the forms pop out or be three-dimensional or not three-dimensional. Okay. I'm going to try to make this part recede a little more. It's popping out a little too much. So I've drawn the border, kind of like a border around that area, so that it has a place to be without taking over. Okay, and let's get a little turning edge here. Okay, this line was from before on my first guess. Okay, and see how I'm gonna do a little turning edge. I'm going kind of the contour of the angle of whatever the form is how I move those strokes. Okay, now up here we do have a little shading here, and that's going to make this pop out a little bit, and then up here it's lighter. Okay, so up here a little bit of light kind of on this, the top part. Okay. All right, by the hand, I'm gonna just darken a few edges that are near that part. All right, so we're getting a lot of three-dimensionality, a lot of form here. Okay, and let's get a little bit of texture in here without taking away everything. So I'm gonna basically just add little bits of tone, and some of these are going to emphasize almost like wrinkles where things are stretching. Okay, we can even imply the seam on the side here. See how I draw like the shape, kind of a contour, like, so I'm trying to emphasize the kind of the calf muscle and how it's over there. And so I'm drawing a little shape to give the shadow or the plane a place to be without getting out of hand. Okay, this was from an earlier guess. Okay, and let's a few more of these little wrinkles. All right, and then with the kneaded eraser, if I wanted to emphasize some of these kind of the turning edge areas, I can erase those back out. Okay, All right, so that's not too bad. Let's get a little kind of texture of this up here. All right, so then might as well apply where this spine is here. Okay, draw the shape of this shadow. And okay, if we want to emphasize that there's a shirt above the spine, like here, we can draw this shadow at an angle there. See that? And now you have a shirt. Now that I kind of ran out of room here at the top. Okay, not too bad. All right, let's try one of the other angles of the same model. Okay, so we've got the side view here. Let's use our reference next to this to try to make it similar size. I don't know if it'll work or not. Okay, and you can see first part is really drawing anatomy, right? It's not drawing a bunch of details yet. It's really about drawing what you know is underneath it. Okay, and a lot of times when I'm drawing limbs like this is I'll work my way down and I'm just working back and forth. I don't draw like the whole line. I usually will just keep working back and forth just so I don't get out of hand. All right. Right, so I jump across here, try to figure out where the calf is. Got some wrinkles here. Obviously our proportions are different on this one. As I can tell, I've run myself out of room, but I do that with every drawing, so. I think basically I always want to go bigger than I start. All right, so we've got some forms here that are basically anatomy driven, okay? And let's do the, okay? All right, so now let's make these a pair of jeans, right? And we're gonna ignore the purse that's on the other side. All right, so now let's add the details of the jeans on top of the anatomy. Okay, so we've got some forms here. We've got some seams coming in. We've got like a belt loop there, okay. And we've got pockets, okay, and it's kind of going that direction. Okay, we've got, I don't always draw the seam like all the way right away. I'm just gonna mark it so I kind of get myself started. Okay, so we've got the pocket somewhere here. Okay, and the pocket goes kind of is getting stretched like all around here. Okay. Okay, we've got some wrinkles here. Okay, so you're starting to be able to see that it's jeans. Okay, a lot of times the seam, you'll draw the seam, but you also can use the seam to show there's some wrinkles, right? Okay, do we have a seam on this side? And it's important to see where is the seam. It's not always in the reference. It's not always like where you think it's going to be. Okay, so we're shading. This is called the turning edge is what I call it, in terms of how you're shading this edge so that you show that it's three-dimensional. And you're trying to imply there's light coming from the other side of it, which makes it more believable. Okay, so we can do it there as well. Okay, and this turning edge can also be used like this, where I'm going to build a highlight here, right? So I'm drawing what's not the highlight to make the highlight. But it's important to make where the border of that highlight is a little darker than where it leads. And that's about edge control. It's really about, so edge control is going to be, I heard somebody say it once, you're drawing like edges that are, some are lost and some are found. So a hard edge is found and a soft edge is lost, like as it fades to nowhere. And so with charcoal, what I'm doing is I slide up or nestle into the sand as my hard edge, and then I drag it or softly lift it as I go, and that creates the soft edge. All right, so let's apply a little bit of light behind here to make this look more three-dimensional. Okay, once again, you'll see my strokes go in the direction, the angle of the contour of the form itself, right? So if it's the stomach here, it's coming around at this shape, right? And a lot of that is going to make it feel a lot more realistic in terms of muscle shapes and things like that. Okay, so here, the shadow from the, what is it called? The fly. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we probably want to make this part a little darker. I'm going to draw a little bit of a shape. Okay, so now that's a little bit more behind. And what else can we do? Okay, and on some of these wrinkles, you leave these the highlight part. It's going to look a lot more like jean wrinkles. When there's some parts of it are in highlight. Okay, and some are underneath it. All right, what do we got? Okay. Looking good. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check out my website, alexfournierart.com, and look out for other content. We'll see you next time.